All right, state prosecutor trying to convince this jury that they should send, that Brian Camp should go to prison for shooting Jonathan Latender. Latender, of course, shows up at his ex's house because he wants her back. He has a knife with him. He has a set of handcuffs with him, and he gets into the house and he fights with Brian Kemp, and guess what? He ends up dead. Michael Gottlieb is still with us. The fact that the defendant took the stand in this case, really, it's going to come down to that, right? The way he expressed what happened during this horror movie. I mean, it is right out of a horror movie. You think about it. You know, I mean, remember in Halloween when Michael Myers got back up? I mean, it's that kind of feel to it on some levels. What about that choice to have him get up there, tell his story? It could work, or the opposite could happen if there, you know, a juror or two gets a bad feeling by the way he's telling his story.
Yeah, so I think anytime we try a case, a jury wants to hear from the defendant. A jury wants to hear why you did what you did. And I think the prosecution in their summation makes a couple of mistakes here that, you know, were hopefully addressed by Camp, which is the prosecution says he could have stood ground, he could have put his foot on his neck. Both of those imply that Latender was still a threat. So if Camp addresses in his statement to the jury the fact that Latender was a threat to him, then the second shot was necessary. And that's all that he needed to do, is convey that the threat was still active. I was in fear for my life or the life of others, and I needed to pull the trigger a second time. So, you know, hopefully he did that, and the jury sees the horror of this horror movie that's unfolding in real life.
Yeah, let's listen to Brian Camp on the stand saying basically just that.
What happened?
As I came around the corner, I saw him getting up, and I shot him again.
Okay. When you say getting up, what did you see his position to be?
I saw his arms extended underneath of him, and the majority of his body off the ground.
Okay. And did that surprise you?
Yes, it did.
That was his sort of explanation there. Are you surprised this was prosecuted or a deal wasn't made, like a no prison time scenario here? And maybe there was an offer that was rejected, but this doesn't feel like a case that possibly should be where it is right now.
Yeah, so all too often we see cases where people are overcharged or charged improperly. This definitely feels like one of those cases. You know, again, the prosecutor, Mr. Gagne, said that the medical examiner testified it would be highly unlikely. He didn't say impossible or improbable that Latender would get up. And now you've got Camp describing the fact that Latender was getting up. He's still a threat. He's still a threat, and you have every right in your home to exercise self-defense and shoot that person until they are no longer a threat, and that's what he did. And he only used a second shot. I don't see why it was prosecuted, and I don't see how it'll be anything other than a not guilty verdict.
Yeah, I mean, the guy's a maniac, too, who comes in, a jealous maniac, who is, you know, obviously he's there for a reason because he's all in, right? He has made that decision to go all in. Let's get a break.
Yeah.
We'll
handcuffs, weapons, break-in.
Yeah. You think he was going to show mercy once he handcuffed one of the two of them?
Didn't seem like it.
Yeah. Let's get a break. We'll get you back in.